Morning, everyone. So, for those of you who are new, welcome to the channel. I just wanted to do a little introduction to myself following on from my previous video. So, my name is Charlie. Um, just a brief introduction to my life. Don't worry, I'm not going to give you my entire life story. So, I was born and bred in London. I lived in Peterborough for a few years, and moving gradually further and further north, I now live all the way up here in Scotland. In amongst all that, I did live in New Zealand for a year. Or basically, all of my friends went to uni, and I got a job and decided I needed to see more of the world. Saved up some money and went all the way to the other side of the world and spent a year in New Zealand. I was working for a company who does horse trekking through the rivers and mountains, and it was absolutely beautiful. And it was actually through a lot of the Lord of the Rings film locations. I was riding horses which were in the movie, riding through scenery which was used in the movie. It was beautiful. So I'm just going to drop in here to my recommendation to go to New Zealand if you find yourself with a lot of extra money and a lot of extra time. It's not a big country, but there's an awful lot to see. So you need a bit of time to get around it all and see it all. Anyway, so that's my advert for New Zealand out of the way. So I live up here in Scotland. I live here with my dog Sonic, who will probably feature fairly heavily in these videos, and also with my horse. Well, she's not actually living here, she's at a livery yard, my horse Sierra. So my history in terms of horses: Sierra's my fourth horse. I've been lucky enough since my teens to have horses. My parents have always been incredibly encouraging, financially, I don't mind saying, and also supportive in terms of, before I could drive, my mum used to drive me up to the yard every day after she'd finished work and I'd finished school, and it just was the routine. She would just drive me up there, so she sacrificed an awful lot of time, and as I said before, an awful lot of money to keep me in horses, really. So my first pony, I suppose he was, 14 was a little Palomino Welsh cob called Blue, who was certainly feisty, had a character, was very stubborn. He taught me how to sit a buck. He threw me off a lot. I'm not entirely sure how I had him for so long, bless him. He was just incredibly lovable. Unfortunately, he is no longer with us. But he was a fantastic horse, fantastic first horse, and love him to bits. I then got a chestnut mare, thoroughbred cross, because obviously I felt slightly insane at the time. She was called Storm. She was fantastic. In fact, this is her here, just popping a fence. She was amazing. She was not everybody's cup of tea. Chestnut thoroughbred mare, neurotic. But we achieved some fantastic things. One of my favourite memories with her is heading to Hickstead, which we did, I think 3 or 4 years running. There was a whole team of us and we'd go down, and it was a great experience. Hickstead Showground, if you don't know, is a big international event. There are 2 international events throughout the year and 1 national one. It's just a fantastic experience. It's a great big international arena. There are 4 or 5 other smaller arenas around the outside. Lots of trade stands. You get to see the warm-up arenas. So even as a spectator, you can kind of just walk around and mingle and rub shoulders with big famous riders and their horses. And it's a great atmosphere. I'm so lucky to have been able to have been a part of that with Storm. After Storm, well, actually while I had Storm, I got another chestnut horse, this time a gelding, because I'm not completely insane to have 2 chestnut mares. Zabby was lovely. He was young, he was inexperienced. We actually didn't do any jumping. We did lots of dressage, so he actually set me on the path for the dressage that I do now. I really found enjoyment from from him. He was lovely. He was so safe. My dad actually used to ride him once a week for me as well, bless him. So he was a lovely, lovely boy. And then my latest horse, my last horse, she's the only one I have now at the moment, is Sierra, who is this one here. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about Sierra. I will do an introduction video to her. That will be my next video, so do stay tuned and watch out for that one. But I will say I got her as a young horse. She was just coming up for, she's the first horse I've ever backed myself, and she's turned out, which I'm really chuffed about, she's turned out to be a fantastic little mare. So that's a little bit of introduction about me. Hopefully you feel like you know a little bit more about me now, and that this series makes a bit more sense to you. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye! Mwah!